The Spanish-American War was a pivotal moment in world history. It lasted just 10 weeks, but its impact was immense. This war thrust the United States onto the world stage, signaled the end of Spanish colonialism, and marked the beginning of America's rise to global power. The war was fought on two fronts. There was the Cuban War of Independence. Cuba was fighting for freedom from Spain, and the United States supported Cuba. Then there was the war in the Philippines. The Philippines was also a Spanish colony, and the United States saw an opportunity to expand its influence in Asia. The Spanish-American War was a complex event. It was driven by a mix of idealism and self-interest. The United States was motivated by a desire to help Cuba, but it was also motivated by a desire to expand its own power. Several factors led to the outbreak of war. Spain's brutal treatment of the Cuban people was one major factor. They launched uprisings, and Spain responded with harsh repression. American newspapers published graphic accounts of Spanish atrocities. Americans sympathized with the Cuban people and called for intervention. Another factor was the sinking of the USS Maine. It exploded in Havana Harbor in February 1898. American newspapers blamed Spain. "Remember the Maine" became a rallying cry for war. The Spanish-American War was fought on land and sea. One of the most decisive battles took place in the Philippines. On May 1, 1898, the U.S. Navy's Asiatic Squadron, commanded by Commodore George Dewey, destroyed the Spanish fleet in Manila Bay. Dewey's victory paved the way for the capture of Manila. It also demonstrated American naval superiority. The United States had become a major naval power. Meanwhile, in Cuba, American forces landed at Daiquiri and Siboney in June 1898. They then advanced on the city of Santiago de Cuba. The Battle of San Juan Hill, immortalized in Theodore Roosevelt's account, was a key victory for the Americans. The Spanish fleet in Santiago Harbor attempted to break out on July 3rd. The Americans, under the command of Admiral William T. Sampson, intercepted and destroyed the Spanish fleet. This victory effectively ended Spanish resistance in Cuba. Section 4. The Spoils of Victory. Outcomes of the war. The Spanish-American War ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1898. Spain ceded Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Guam to the United States. Spain sold the Philippines to the US for $20 million. The war transformed the US into a global power. It marked the start of America's involvement in Asia. Cuba gained independence, but the US influenced the island. Puerto Rico and Guam became US territories. The Philippines also became a US territory. Filipinos resisted, leading to the Philippine-American War. Section 5. A New World Order, the war's enduring significance. The Spanish-American War was a turning point in American history. It marked the end of the country's isolationist foreign policy. It ushered in an era of American expansionism and global involvement. The war also had a lasting impact on the relationship between the United States and Latin America. The United States emerged as the dominant power in the region. This dominance would shape the course of events in Latin America for decades to come. The Spanish-American War was a brief but consequential conflict. It left an indelible mark on the United States and the world. It was a war that helped to shape the 20th century. It continues to resonate in the 21st.